It's like nobody even actually uses Vi for Vi. It's just for her stats. It's just she's being used. She's being objectified, all right? All right, so with patch number 1.2 coming out in like, I don't know, 5 days or so, I figured let's go over some of the cards that I think, or I guess you could say more correctly, want changed, whether that be a nerf or a buff come the patch. And I am almost positive there's at least 2 cards on here that everybody agrees with pretty much no matter what. If you don't, I don't think you've been playing this game long enough. My name is Justin, also known as Shit Just Works. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. And let's just say I am pretty damn excited for this patch to drop. Let's get into the top 10 cards that I want to see changed and that I think will get changed come patch 1.2. All right, so like I said, there's 2 that I know everybody probably agrees with. I'm going to save those for last. We'll get into those in a little bit. First up, I want to go over a Demacia card that, honestly, this should see more play than it already sees. After this patch, I think it will see more play if they don't nerf it like this. But I am talking about Ranger's Resolve. And right now, as a 1-cost burst spell, give everything tough, just seems a little too much. I think it needs to go to a 2-cost. I think it's much more balanced at that. And my main problem with it is that Chainfest gives a unit tough permanently for 1 cost, right? This gives all units tough. Now, the idea with Chainfest is that you're using it to, deny a Vile Feast or deny a Withering Wail or deny, something that's targeting 1 unit, and it gives it that just enough, health to get by and not get killed. That's the idea of using Chain Vest in the first place, is just for that turn. The fact that it sticks around is kind of just like an afterthought added bonus. So the fact that you can set up a combat and have everything line up like health and attack wise and then pop a Ranger's Resolve and save like 4 units, that's way too much value for a 1-cost, I think. So I think 2-cost, this does fantastic. I think right now 1-cost, there's such an inherent value in being 1-cost anyways, because you can just have 1 mana up and still basically change the entire game with 1 spell. So 2 mana, this is good. All right, so next up, we have 2 P&Z cards. One of them of which I am we'll go after that one next, but I'm surprised that one hasn't been touched until now in all the aggro decks. But first up, we have Professor Von Yip. Now, I want this card buffed really bad, and I think it needs to get buffed because with all the 1-cost like support, so we have cards like Jailbreak and Double Trouble, which should just by nature of being in existence make a Professor Von Yip deck at least semi-playable. I myself even tested the deck. The issue is his health. At a 2-3, he's very squishy, and you'd think, well, 3 health is actually much better than 2 health, obviously. But the problem is 3 health is still open to something like Grasp of the Undying or Get Excited, or basically all of that lower cost removal that's 5 mana or less. And with him costing 4 mana, that means that you can't really safely play him on turn 4, because then on turn 5, your opponent will almost definitely have something like Grasp. So you'll be lucky to get 1 unit buffed off of his effect, and then he's gone. So I think that if he is changed to a 1 attack, a 4 health, same cost, he'll be much better. He'll actually make the 1-cost decks viable. All right, hold up, pause. Before we get to the rest of these cards, real quick, again, if you are new, hit the sub button. If you like the video, hit that like button. Like, why do I gotta keep why? Every time. Why do I always gotta remind you guys? All right, next up is Boom Crew Rookie. All right, here's the deal. I don't mind burn aggro. I think it takes a little bit of skill to make sure you don't screw up the card ordering in aggro. If you play something too early, your opponent can negate it, like a Noxian Fervor. And there's a lot of other little intricacies in burn aggro matchups. However, this card in the burn aggro deck, pretty much if you draw 2 of these in your first couple of turns, you win the game. There's very little chance that a burn aggro deck having 2 of these on the board in the first 3 turns will be able to lose the game, mainly because they're almost guaranteed to get their effect off at least once just because of the 4 health. You can't really kill these with anything in the game on turn 2 or turn 3. So that puts you in a situation where you know you're taking like 6 to 8 damage against 2 of these, and that pretty much auto wins the game for burn aggro. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's healthy for any game. How do we fix this? The first obvious one seems 3 health, but I feel like that's a little bit too much of a hit. Although I do think stat-wise and effect-wise, it technically is balanced. So the other idea is possibly change it from attack to strike. And what that does is allows for people to negate the effect a little bit easier, the 2 damage. As an example, if your opponent opened attacks with a Boom Crew rookie, now you can actually Will of Ionia the Boom Crew, and the effect does not trigger. Whereas if the Boom Crew attacks, the effect already gets put on the stack, then you return the Boom Crew to hand, the effect still goes off. So I think something like a strike effect versus a play effect, or sorry, an attack effect, might actually make this card much more balanced. All right, and here's my random card of the set, and that is Arena Bookie. I think this card is just terrible. Never sees any play. So I think just doing something small to kind of push it in the right direction of being played might help. So we're going with the 2 health. The problem with increasing it to 2 health is that it doesn't really follow the whole Noxus strategy of, I know what Riot's going for and wanting most of these cards to have more attack than health. Kind of like Draven's biggest fan. It's a 2-1 instead of a 1-2, obviously, because it's Noxus, it's aggro, they want to attack. So kind of awkward having a 2-2. But I do think that Arena Bookie does need 2 health. I think that it's too easy to ping him off with a Vile Feast or really anything in the game, and then you really lose his combo potential. So 2 health, give this guy a chance. All right, and we have another Noxus card. Now, poor Vladimir. Poor Vladimir. And there's going to be one other champion that I also touch on in a second as well. But poor Vladimir is just, he got buffed, I think. I think he was like 6 cost. I forget what they did to Vladimir, to be honest with you. But he just still does not see play. Like, actually, I lied. I saw, he did see a little tiny bit of play in Duels of Runeterra. I think like one person that we casted had played him, but he's still just not good. I've been playing a ton of Sejuani and Swain to ladder, which is an amazing bomb deck, by the way. You should try it. Video link in the description below. And also a card. Oh, shit, wrong way. This right here. So that deck is just inherently better than playing Vlad. Like, that deck does what Vlad wants to do, but 10 times better than Vlad does it, which is Crimson Disciple and all that good stuff. Sejuani and Swain is just incredible with the aggro and the tempo all the way through turn 7 and 8. So now I get that Vlad might be more of a combo card, but I don't know. Either way, another small buff might help. Maybe changing him to 6 health. He is Vladimir. He does regenerate. He is supposed to be tanky in that sense that, you know, you can't kill him. I think 6 health makes him able to challenge things like a Swiftwing Lancer or a Garen or just a lot of those 5 attack units that we've been seeing. So, again, let's give Vladimir another chance to get into the metagame. All right, before we get into that other champion, and there's actually 2 other champions, I lied. There's 2 more champions that I think need changes. SAP Magic. Okay, SAP Magic, I think it's a good card. I think when everybody saw it, they kind of expected that it heals the Nexus. Why doesn't it heal the Nexus? This just needs to heal the Nexus. If this heals the Nexus, it's a more playable card. There's really no reason for it not to heal the Nexus. Then it can be used in kind of control decks. I don't know if they think that might be too much heal in the giant scope of the game in general, to like maybe it will kill aggro. So maybe if something like SAP Magic heals Nexus, then they shouldn't make the change to Boom Crew Rookie. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some sort of interaction like that is what they're worried about. I don't know, but I do think this does need to heal the Nexus 3 because otherwise this card doesn't get played unless you randomly have 2 Maokai. And even then, you probably don't want to play it. You probably want to wait until it turns back into a Maokai. All right, so we got these 2 champions before we get into the 2 Demacia cards that like I said, everybody, you already know what they are. You know what they are. If you don't know what they are, I'm sorry. I feel really bad. All right, so these 2 champions. We got Vi and we have Shen. God, Shen. Rip Shen. Huh? Shen, everybody thought Shen was the shit when Shen and Fiora was a thing. Well, clearly, Shen and Fiora is not a thing anymore. Now you can just unyielding Spirit Fiora. Why have barriers when you just can't kill her, right? So, Shen, I don't know. I think his effect and his level up are very much in line with him as a champion. I think that he has good effects. I think that a barrier deck would be good. he might need an entire rework. He might really just need an entire rework with how his barrier interaction thing works. I think having it be a support effect is difficult. Maybe something like play a spell and give a random ally barrier when you play a spell. I don't know. That's just really off the top of my head right now. But I do think he needs more health. So I think that at this point, he needs to change to a 2/6. Same cost, but have him be 2 attack, 6 health. Makes him a little bit beefier. Again, allowing him to withstand those 5 attack champions like Garen or Swiftwing Lance or something like that. And he needs that 6 health too because he is a support champion. So like you have to attack with him and he has to chunk some sort of block. So it's just difficult to really be able to get more than 1 attack off with him at 5 health. So 6 health and then reevaluate, see how he is after that. All right. This card. This card has been, I don't know why Karina control with this card is a thing. It seems so awkward. Vi. So Vi, I actually love. I think that it's obviously a great card. I actually don't think it's like broken. I don't think she is broken the way that she is currently designed at all, right? The problem is, and especially because of the next 2 cards from Demacia that we all know and love, because of those being in existence, I think this is why she's also that much better right now. Everything's very stat-based when metas first start, right? You release a new set, everything's very aggro. Everybody makes an aggro deck first, and then everything is like, all right, what's the beefiest, chunkiest units we can put up there to just suck up blocks, right? With her having 5 health and having it be tough, she's obviously a great go-to, and then obviously having Challenger and increasing attack means she can basically pick off anybody she wants. Very good card, not broken. However, her level up gets lost in translation. It's like nobody even actually uses Vi for Vi. It's just for her stats. It's just she's being used. She's being objectified, right? So she needs to actually have her level up be relevant and have a win condition that surrounds her level up, okay? And her level up does get used, don't get me wrong, but very, very rarely. And that's not why she's put in the decks. People don't put her in the decks because, oh, yeah, I'm going to level her up and that's how we're going to win. No. So I think she should have a few different changes, all right? Her health should go to 4. She should keep tough, okay? She should actually go up in cost by 1, all right? But have her level up be only strike for 8 or more, okay? So this does a few things. This allows her to get killed by 5 attack champions or followers, and it also allows her to level up a little bit easier and then puts her at 5 health, which then puts her out of range. So now her level up is what's putting her out of range of that crucial 5 attack and 5 health there. Now, here's why I also think costing 6 is okay instead of, I mean, you might be able to do that and then keep her at 5 just because that 4 and 5 health is a pretty big difference. But let's say you get her to 8, all right, for the level up, and that's the first time that you play her. So for 5 cost, you're actually getting, at that point, if you have 8 attack and 4 health, you're getting 12 worth of stats when you should really be getting 10. Plus, you're having Challenger, which you could value at, 1 mana, right? On top of that, you're getting Tough, which, again, you could value at 1 mana. So you have all these added bonuses with Vi that I think merit a little bit of an increase in cost. So we'll see. But I do think that nerfing her health by 1 is a very big change. They might actually just do that and keep her at the same cost. We'll see. But I would like to see her actually get used for what she's intended to be used for, which is using her level up as a win condition. All right, last but not least, the Coup de Gras that everybody talks about, that I know I have talked about at least a few times during casts, on videos. Frickin' BadgerBear. And, dun dun dun, Grizzled Ranger, of course. All right, so here's the deal. BadgerBear. So Cithria, the bold, or no, I don't know. The one that's a 1 cost 2/2. So she is +1/+1 over the regular stats that you'd think. Like if you're saying stats are 1/1 for 1 and 2/2 for 2, 3/3 for 3, 4/4 for 4, etc., then you could say, okay, Cithria is a little bit buffed. And that's mainly because she doesn't have an effect. So generally when there's a card that has 0 effect, they get a little bit of an increase in overall stats, right? Now, with that in mind, health generally in most card games and in this card game is valued a little bit more than attack, all right? And that is mainly because that allows the unit to stick around and gives you field presence, and field presence itself is an inherent advantage that changes the game state, changes the board state. I think that with that said, BadgerBear needs to change to be a 3-4. Now, if you change him to a 3-4, here's the problem. And it definitely can't be a 4-3. So, Jagged Taskmaster, just as an example, is why this cannot change to a 3-mana 4-3. Taskmaster is a 4-3 with a plunder effect. So, that's a 4-3 plus an additional effect, right? And you can see Jagged Taskmaster isn't really played, albeit mainly because the plunder effect is pretty useless. It's for a 1-cost deck, so that's kind of a disadvantage in and of itself. But if we're going to change BadgerBear, we have to take into consideration the rest of the card environment. So I have a list here. I'm going to read. We have Callista is a 3-mana 4-3. All right, but she's also a champion. And that's a pretty big bonus. Not going to lie. Laurent Protege is a 3-mana 2-4 with Challenger, and you could value the Challenger at 1 cost. So essentially, right, that's a 2-mana 2-4. Mighty Poro is a 3-mana 3-3 with Overwhelm. All right. Patrol Wardens is a 3-mana 4-3 with the potential to be only 2 mana. So right there, that's just a base 3-mana 4-3. Let's assume it doesn't have the effect that the turn you draw to cost 2. So you can't really make BadgerBear 4-3. 3-4. All right. If we were to make it a 3-4. 3-4 feels better. There are really no 3-4s in the game. We do have a 5-4. Reckless Trifarian, shout out to Cero for this example and bringing this to light, is a 5-4 that costs 3 mana that can't block. So if we were to change good old BadgerBear to a 3-4, that means we're essentially valuing can't block at 2 attack. So I would say I have to agree with that, right? We do have the 1-drop 3-2 that can't block that. Okay, then it would be a 1-2 if it could block. All right, I can get on board with that. A 1-2 makes sense for a 1-drop, at least the value of a 1-drop, right? So now some would argue that's still okay. A 3-4, plain old 3-4 might need a little bit more. So I don't think so. I think a 3-4 would be fine. But here's another idea. You could make it be a 4-4 and this is more of a meme or a joke, if anything, if there's other BadgerBears or Grizzled Rangers on the field. So, I don't know. I think everybody's kind of been joking about when there's groups of BadgerBears on the field. So I think it would be funny to make an effect similar to that. Okay, it's a 4-4, but only when there's, a group of BadgerBears, or maybe there has to be 3 on the field, right? I don't know. Either way, with that said, we have Grizzled Ranger, and Grizzled Ranger also needs a nerf. Grizzled Ranger needs to be down to 3 attack. It still allows it to block fearsome units, which is crucial. So what this would do is right now it is a 4 cost for 8-5 worth of stats. That's insane. That's just if there was a 4 cost 8-5 unit in the game, everybody would play it, right? Plus it has Scout. So if you nerf both cards with the suggestions I just made, now you're looking at a 4 cost for 6-5 worth of stats plus Scout. That's much more balanced. I even still think that's strong. So I don't see why that would not be anywhere in the realm of possibility. All right, that is it. But some quick shout outs here at the end, okay? We have Eye of the Dragon. Initially, I thought Eye of the Dragon was straight busted when it first came out. I still think it's an incredible card, but I think it is perfectly designed. I don't know. It ended up being really balanced. It actually allows control decks to stay in the game versus aggro decks in a control-y sort of way that actually still makes it difficult for them to stay in the game, right? It seems easier because you'll have lifesteal, but those lifesteal units have to still strike, which aggro decks can sometimes prevent. So I like it. I think it's super balanced. Thresh also seems sort of underwhelming. He is still played, so I highly doubt they'll do anything. I don't know. I think he's going to get worse as the game goes on unless there's some sort of really expensive champion that comes out. He is entirely good based on what champions are released. Bark Beast, this is totally random. I still think it needs to go to a 2-2, gain +1/+1 when something dies. And Karma. I think Karma's fine. I think Riot's still going to keep an eye on Karma because she's insane, or can be insane. But I still think she's fine. I think that Karma Ez is not taking over the metagame. I think that Lux Karma is not entirely taking over the metagame. I think she's in some healthy variety of decks. And I think that she is not the reason why everybody's playing all these BadgerBears. All right. So, and her deck, Lux Karma, might even get worse once the BadgerBears and the Grizzled Rangers get nerfed. So honestly, I don't think Karma is a problem whatsoever. I think she is perfectly fine in the spot she is in now. So we'll see what happens come Tuesday, everybody, or Monday is that technically when the patch notes come out. So until then, everybody stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.